Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to do an April 2017 Ascension Energy Update. This is where I just sort of express my take on the present energies, and I want to talk about 4 different aspects of what we are kind of going through right now that I feel collectively. Number 1 is, I don't think I have to tell you this, but intensity. The energy is very intense right now. And that's not to say good or bad. It's kind of both. You might feel intensely down and negative and bluesy sometimes, some days, some weeks, some hours throughout the day. And this intensity, it can be experienced in the exact opposite way, where you experience very highs, exhilarating heights of life experience, big, massive, incredibly life-changing breakthroughs. It's just intense. You see it out there in people, the way there's a pulse. There's a pulse to reality, to our experience right now, and we're just becoming so sensitive and so in tune with ourselves, with other people, and there just seems to have been a spike in this ascension energy all over the planet. I don't think, again, I have to tell you that. Most of you are pretty much well aware of that. Number 2, it seems to be appropriate with this spring time that a lot of us are sort of embarking in a new direction, on a new journey, opening up and starting a new chapter in our life. And this, of course, is combined with this intense energy. There's times where you're breaking into the new, you're doing something new and exciting, and you feel so hopeful, so like this is just awesome. This is so right for me. This is where I'm supposed to be. Thank goodness. I love life. I love everybody. And then, because whenever we expand into the new, when it's been sort of, whenever we go forward on our divine path, you could say, there are times where it's like that, but other times we sort of block and sabotage ourselves, and that's where it can be kind of challenging, because we have to oftentimes lighten the load the further on our path we get. So when we're exploding into the new, expanding into the new, starting a new journey, it's just a up and down journey, highs and lows. And the advice I have is to not label a bad day or a funk or a low as a bad thing. It's just your experience. It's your life trying to show you something that needs to be let go of, because you're about to go forward a few steps, which is going to be awesome. But in order to really experience it in that awesome way, in that highest potential way, it's ideal to let go of these things that might trip you up and might sort of diminish that experience. So learn all you can from the bad days. Ask why they're there. What's going on? Why am I depressed? Why is this repetitive thing happening to me? Oh, okay. You discover it, and then you can go forward again. Number 3, I call the glass ceiling. That is where a lot of you might be having some success with something, and then realize that you're having trouble going beyond a certain point. I've had this show up in my life on many occasions for many different things. And I'll give an example. When I was younger and I was in high school, I became really into working out and fitness. And I really had like mental goals of how I wanted to look and how much I wanted to lift and all that kind of stuff. I was like young. But there was a day, I remember one time I got really stoned and I was like looking at myself in the mirror, and I realized, like, wow, you're looking like really big and beefy, dude. And it made me feel very uncomfortable, very nervous, because not everyone looked that way. And there was another part of me, the insecure high school self, wanted to kind of blend in and be accepted. So I chose to, at that point, stop working out and stop trying to be like that. Even though it was my natural passion to like be really fit, I just loved working out, most of my life, I stopped myself. And that sort of, that's happened all throughout my life with fitness. I would get on a kick where I'd get really in good shape, and I'd be going, and I always hit this wall. And I've discovered recently it sort of draws back to that experience, that there's oftentimes a wounded part of ourself that would rather not go forward in the direction of our dreams because of some sort of distorted, misaligned belief we have about the situation, usually being clouded with our younger judgment and less aware self that concluded something that might have made sense back then but no longer has a place. You might experience this more, maybe that was kind of a confusing example. You might experience this more practically if you say you have a new job or start a business and you get to a certain point and you're doing good and all of a sudden you can't go forward anymore. It's because you're stopping yourself. You're afraid of the success. You think you're going to be a bad person if you earn all that money. And then these beliefs cause us to, in a very roundabout way, sabotage ourselves. But I think this month you're going to start to become aware of this glass ceiling, because when we sabotage ourselves, we actually attract to us things that really seem to be in our way, but they're not. We put them there as reflections of, again, our misaligned beliefs that are saying there's a part of you that doesn't want this thing, even though in your heart you know you do. So if you find yourself having weird situations crop up where you just feel like you just can't move forward in some way, then you can always ask yourself, why? Why have I attracted this? What is this actually a reflection of? And because the energies are so potent and so intense, there's a good chance you'll be able to make have a big epiphany and draw some kind of crazy life-altering conclusion and be able to finally lighten that load, thereby dissolving that illusory barrier. And lastly, I don't think I have to mention this, but you might be noticing that these ascension energies that we're fairly sensitive to, most of us, are starting to affect everybody. Even people who don't know anything about this stuff. They are being affected. It's starting to, we know what it does. This energy comes into the planet, it gets inside of our bodies somehow, and it pushes to the surface all that is not compatible with this newer, more refined, love divine type of energy. And we're aware of that. So we do our best to kind of manage ourselves on bad days. Sometimes we have our explosions, you could say, but for the most part, we are aware that there are some days we're not really feeling our best. But most people, they don't know. They don't realize there's a transformation taking place. They don't realize that they don't have any idea any of this is going on. So this process I see is starting to kind of happen naturally in regular people, meaning pushing to the surface all their baggage, but they're so lost in their ego and their character identity, it's just spewing out at each other, and it just seems like people are really at each other's throats, and there's all this conflict and just insanity going on. And to you guys, people who are real sensitive, this is an incredibly uncomfortable experience. You could feel not only your own angst, your own issues, but you can feel it in other people. And there seems to be no sign of resolution because, again, you can just tell most people are fairly unconscious to this whole process playing out. So that leaves us in a pretty interesting situation. To try to be loving and grounded in the midst of this chaos is not easy. But I feel that's, for the most part, our duty and our obligation. That's why some people are aware of this transformation process and some people are not. But essentially, I believe these energies are going to just keep taking us more forward, more in alignment, more in sync with our divine plan, our divine purpose, which I believe is going to be quite helpful to the whole in some way. And in the meantime, we just got to suck it up and do our best and not be so hard on ourselves, because intense and quick and fast transformation is not easy. It's very uncomfortable at times. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, because you have that sense like I have now, like I'm on this mountain, I don't know if you can see, but there's a cliff right behind me. And it's like that, it's nice, I like it, it's beautiful up here, but I'm so high up that it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Sometimes we want something, we have a goal and a dream, we work our asses off to get that, and then we finally sort of start to climb that mountain and get there, and we're like, whoa, this is getting awfully real, man, I don't know. I like it. This is where I want to go, but it's a little bit unnerving and uncomfortable, rising so quickly. But that's all okay. Then there's periods of adjustment and tapering off. Right now is not one of those. Right now we're on a rapid ascent, and it can be experienced in all the different ways I mentioned. So keep that in mind. Be patient with yourself. Embrace the fact that you're in a time of transformation and healing and rapid ascension. And then there's going to be a period of disorientation as we adjust to the new energetic climate. But ultimately, it's good news. Y'all who are watching this, people who are like aware of all this, you have amazing things to look forward to. The world's not going to clean itself up overnight. We know that, but you know what? You're going to have a badass life. You're going to find something that excites you and gives you passion and fills you with love and joy and hope. And you're going to do that. And you're going to also get to a point where you don't even care the outcome. You'll get so wrapped up in the doing, the joy of doing, the joy of the moment, that you won't need things to change. You won't need people to change their minds and change their ways, because you will be in your own little bubble of happiness. And hopefully other people will notice that bubble and start asking you how they can create their own bubble. The energy of your bubble is also going to be helping people indirectly as well. So you're doing a great service right now. We all are doing our best to maintain ourselves during these energies. So hope that helps, guys. Have an amazing day. I will speak to you tomorrow. Namaste.